Hello there. Last time I said I would probably do all the find all the hidden stuff in what lies in the multiverse in between streams, and then show you the whatever the alternative ending was right now. Funny story about that from an outside perspective. Anyway, so I started doing that, went through the first level, got most of the way through it, most of the stuff, then the game crashed and didn't save any of the stuff I'd got. Okay, that's annoying, but it happens. It was the first level, so it took a little while to get through, but I could get all that again. Went through, got almost got all the stuff in the second level. Again, fine. Started getting stuff in the third level. Then, while trying to get an achievement, something that it tells you to do, basically you need to get crushed by a door to die, which is in it's theoretically fine, except in doing that and doing the way that I'm pretty sure you're intended to, of like jumping into a closing door, uh, it soft locked. It like pushed me up to the ceiling. I was continually jumping. Could None of the controls would respond, and it was basically frozen. I had to crash the game. Okay, uh, so that happened, and not only did it not save the stuff I'd gotten in the third chapter, it also didn't save the stuff I'd gotten in the second, despite the fact that it had apparently saved. So basically, at that point, I said, screw it, screw you, we're not doing that, bye. And that's what that is. So I'm sure the alternative ending's on YouTube somewhere, so if you're interested, uh, go ahead and watch that. I won't, purely out of spite. So, yeah, that's basically that. Anyway, now we have something a little more. Seems like it'll be a little more wholesome, a little more pleasant and cozy for the season. Um, Also, forgive me, I wanted to have some sound on the like coming online screen, but also wanted to see like the opening thing for the first time we booted up. So I started it, quit it, and now we're starting again with the first tree. Um, I don't really know anything about this game beyond it presumably involves a tree that is the first, except there's all these other trees, so though maybe it just came before them, I don't know. So, commentary mode. Interesting. Like that that's an option, but considering that's my job, that's what I'm doing, let's not. No subtitles, yes, I think. Okay, and let's just head into it. So, I'm aware we are a fox, um, due to the fact there was a fox on that screen. Um, there was an orange fox in the snow, which is, though to be fair, it may just be winter. I don't know. And hello.
Are you awake? I thought I heard you get up.
Uh,
Yeah, I'm awake. Sorry, I just can't sleep.
Are you thinking about him?
Yeah, a bit. Usually get back to sleep, my love. I'm fine.
No, it's okay. What else is on your mind?
Foxes apparently.
I don't
Or
know. It seems weird,
oh,
but I had one of the most vivid dreams of my life. I saw a fox on a snowy mountain, just looking confused and worried. Those eyes. I can't get those eyes out of my head. She was running in the windy
ooh, double
snow,
jumped.
looking for something.
Do you think it has to do with you and what's been going on?
I don't know. It was just a dream, Rachel. They're not
Yeah,
meant to make sense. A lot's
that's
happened
generally
the
how
past
dreams
couple
work, but I'm
days,
guessing
that's all.
that's not going to be the case here.
Well, if you're not going to sleep anyway, you should tell me. I want to hear.
All right.
So the fox could double jump. That's... Which, it's weirdly specific, or, well, jump and then levitate. So, yeah. I mean... Yeah, so the animal animation isn't exact... Oh, this seems... Okay. How do you interact? Back to game. No, don't jump on the body. Is it, that's camera controls. That's so um
So,
there we
not
are.
far from her home, she followed that path to something unexpected.
Uh, cozy and wholesome, I said. Uh-huh.
She couldn't stay, though. She had to find her other 2 children. So she took that path. She followed it towards something ancient. Something with answers.
I mean, trees, in my experience, don't have the most answers. Uh, unless your problem is lack of leaves. Yeah, so the animal
The fox
animation
looked
is...
high and low, searching for any sign of her cubs. Points of light showed the way to this ancient tree. It was as if each one had a story to tell, all their own. The land was trying to tell my story, too. I felt like I was right behind her the whole time.
Yes. Yes. So yes, fortunately her OCD meant she had to pick up every single one, which helped her lead on the path. So yeah, animal animation, I mean, it's not exactly up to the standards of Stray, but at the same time it is very much an indie game, so that's really not like that. That's I'm not going to demand that be perfect. It works. Yes, it kind of looks like she has like booster jets in her stomach, which is not the location foxes usually have their booster jets. So okay, well, I'm hoping that those shining things, well, that all the points of light that the things we collect give that sort of glow, because it would be very useful for finding them, but we'll have to see. But they also seem to create a column of light, and generally they're nice and visible. But, hello?
Do you remember what my dad did for a living?
Wasn't
dig up
he like a
dig up toy
lumberjack?
trains.
That's one way of putting it. If wood was a canvas, then a carving knife was his paintbrush. Even after working a 50-hour week,
or
even after his hands were more splinters than skin, he would bring home the nicest piece of Alaskan weeping cedar and make me toys. That wooden train was the first toy I can remember, and I loved it. I just knew from a young age I was going to be a lumberjack, like my father.
Yeah, I mean, left it out of the wilderness to get buried in snow, but still he loved it. Yes, I know it's a dream. guess these are moats. Let's call them. No, let's. Should we call them moats? Does that just sounds like things around castles? Lights. Lights works. Aha! Hello, rabbits. You are running from a fox. This is very sensible. Also, that seems like it might be the way forward, so let's do a bit more exploring the area. Okay, so that one didn't seem to have much of a... or maybe it didn't, it blended with others, I don't know. Well, let's see what we can find. Aha. All there. I thought that other way was the way forward, but it might be this way. Well, we'll have to see, and couldn't really move there. Okay, that was weird, but okay. So it seems we, at least for the moment, the primary, oh, hello, some form of, some other dairy thing, maybe? Yeah, that primary form of interaction is walking around, exploring, and finding things, so the, quote, walking simulator, which I don't, for a moment, feel is necessarily a bad thing. So far, this is, nice.
Usually those kids would leave me alone, but somehow they could tell I was different. They made fun of how far away I lived. They called my dad a sourdough. I was a blabbermouth as a kid, telling my dad stories I made up for hours.
Also, was a tank.
After that show and tell,
Might have buried the lead
didn't
there.
tell him much anymore. He didn't know exactly what was wrong, but his best guess was that the toys he carved weren't cool enough. He carved me a tank and tried to tell me what it was like to be in a real tank as a serviceman.
I didn't know your
So
dad was in the military.
Hellish is,
Yeah,
is
in
what
the
he was
army.
telling you.
The sad thing is that I'd pretty much forgotten until just now.
Huh.
There's so much I still don't know about him.
I'm sorry. He knows how much you love him. You're going to see him again soon and have some closure, I'm sure.
I hope so. Also, I really hope this isn't your dad's tank, because I think that might make seeing him again a bit more of a proposition than it might otherwise be. Yeah, like seems like so far at least, which is like not far. Seems like a rather nice little narrative exploration game. Which honestly, I feel narrative exploration is a better term than quote walking simulator. But there, that's how language works. Doesn't really matter if we approve of it. It changes the way it does. Hello, we have something over. Oh, it's a bus. School bus. I have a nasty feeling those kids are going to be late. Late to school and the late kids. That's pleasant. You're welcome / I apologise.
The older I got, the more I withdrew. I asked myself, why talk to anybody anyway? Why bother when I'm happy by myself?
Because they
I
might
started
give you
drawing a
tips to
lot,
improve as an artist.
mostly animals I saw in the woods by my home. I then imagined designing my own hideouts with things like TVs and pantries full of chips and cookies. I think that idea of leaving home and drawing blueprints started my career. I found a lot of solace in that.
I'm not surprised, but I did the same thing, you know? There's something special about having a place to call your own.
Yeah,
And now look at us. Well, if you count renting in an overpriced city.
It's as close as we can get for now.
Yeah, people withdrawing because of ostracization. Okay, this is getting a little more real than I'd anticipated, and definitely more understandable for me. But then again, I suspect that's a common thing among many gamers, game players. No, okay, no, that's okay. We don't appear to have fall damage, which is useful, but still need to get that. Still need to get that light. How appropriate for the season, spending ages and getting and massive inconvenience just to make just to get some lights you can use. We're back here, so okay, that way we are going somewhere else. Right. Going into spring, apparently. Oh, right, dream. So I will say I'm not quite certain what the purpose of the walk-run mechanic is. Like, if there's a benefit to walking instead of running, but
My teenage years were full of sketching, angst, and trouble. I wasn't popular or unpopular. Maybe just forgettable.
I expect many
I guess
teenagers
that gave me a
wish
sense
they
of
were.
freedom. So I hung out with crazy kids, doing crazy things, even though I mostly just watched the chaos ensue. We did it all. Put fireworks in mailboxes, hide roadkill in people's garages, break windows of the barber shop in Anchorage. My dad was furious, but he was so busy working he couldn't do much to stop me from going out.
I think being an adult means there's no one to stop you making hard decisions. He had to make a living, and he couldn't be in two places at once.
Yeah, I realize that now. But at the time, I was sure he was more interested in growing his business than what was going on with me.
Okay, so what does it say? Butterflies in a circle plus double jump? What do I just like? What's that first one mean? I don't. is there something in this? Oh, this. Oh, I mean, he's got fantastic. Or she. I've got fantastic mid-air maneuvering capabilities, but I don't quite know what the butterflies symbolize. That doesn't really help. Thought I was trying to press the run button at the same time, but it didn't really do anything. So I'm very confused. Something here. Oh, definitely gotta get from that. So what? What does that mean? Oh, that's hang on, unless I have to go over here first. Oh, hello, where there's butterflies. I see butterflies. Okay. Interesting. So, wait, what? Can I not? Yes, I can double jump there, I just can't. Okay, so double jumping means you can't double jump after a certain point in the jump, I think. Also, these butterflies are impressively strong. There we are. Yeah, sorry, like the circle made it look like that was some form of control thing I had to do, like maybe with one of the sticks, but no, it's just like there are butterflies, and they are superhumanly, super butterflyly strong. Oh, hello. That seems like a whole new area, so let's go back and explore the first one a bit more. Since there's at least a few things around here that warrant investigating / collecting / digging / possibly eating. I mean fox, so yeah. Oh. Okay, so camo hat and red cross. That seems a little dark, but not exactly unexpected. Hi? Peoples on faces? A world jar and an untouched tray and an over-toppled chair. Wait, where's the... there was a thing in the area, wasn't there? Sure, there was a thing to dig. Ah, yes, there is. There is. I just
I
haven't
was
found
working
it yet.
another late night, and my friends were over, saying how bored they were and how they had come all the way out to my house for nothing. One of them mentioned how that old, ugly beyond belief truck was still in the garage, and how we should take it for a spin.
Oh.
I was only 15, so I kind of fought it for a while. The next thing I knew, we were careening around the mountain path, rocks spitting onto the sides of the cliff, while my dad's cringeworthy bluegrass blared out the speakers. I drove while my friends were in the back of that yellow and purple truck, throwing beer bottles and trash at anything remotely interesting. Felt like I was soaring in the air with borrowed wings. But all good things
You
have
probably
endings.
were soaring
The
through the
cop
air.
outside of Eagle River
41.
pulled us over after he saw us send a bottle rocket into someone's yard.
Probably for the
What
best.
followed was a long night of talking to disappointed adults and feeling smaller than ever.
Okay, that seems to be everything around here, so... Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I mean, I know what he was implying, but if one moment you're like fighting against doing something you know to be would be a terrible idea, and the next thing you know you're doing that thing, might want to get that medically checked out. That sounds like some blackouts at the very least. That's either a very big. That is either a very big butterfly, or a very close light source. Okay. Been along this little ridge. Yes, aha! Fireworks and light, which is, I mean, okay, that's actually slightly redundant, but, and, banjo. I can't interact with the banjo. I want to see how well you could pluck it with paws.
After he drove me home from the police station, I blew up at him, saying how I never wanted to be like him, how I was going to be someone and leave that hick icebox for good. He just looked forward at the road with tired eyes. I took out that bluegrass tape from the cassette deck and chucked it out the window. In my sage teenage wisdom, I thought I had proved the ultimate point, but my dad had a different idea. He slammed the brakes, slowly bowed his head while gripping the steering wheel, and finally looked at me. All he said, like it was a polite request, was, "Make this right." I sat there in silence, fuming, but I eventually got out and combed every square inch of the woods, muttering profanity after profanity. I found it 30 minutes later, near a small waterfall off the road. I went back to the truck, put the wet tape back in, and sure enough it worked. We didn't speak another word to each other the rest of the night.
Wow, I knew you were a crazy teenager, but
It's hard to believe, isn't it? It surprises me too. It's like I didn't really know who that kid was back then. I bet my dad thought the same thing over and over. It's almost like he was saying, "Make this right," to himself, more than to me.
Yeah, that is. I mean, yeah, that's pretty impressive for cassette tape, because those things were fragile and temperamental little buggers. I am just old enough to know that. Um, so okay, I like the falling animation. That's quite good. I mean, like the animations, yeah, fine, fine for what it is. It's not like, again, it's not exactly AAA, but it's not. It's making no making no pretenses to be. No, there's two. Can I get two lots of butterflies? Uh, yes, apparently I can. Do they both? They both apply? No, they don't. Okay. That is worth knowing. So how do I get up there? I wonder. That means there's a thing up there, so I presume it's a place where we want to go. Yeah, there's a light up there as well, but let's see about this first. Okay, hang on. I see. Maybe if I go up there. No. I doubt it, but maybe if we got both sets of butterflies? Well, I'll need one set for that, it seems. Yeah, I'm not certain of this, but I can try. Okay, so I gets the height, just not the distance. Just, would it work? Would it work if I was just went from the ground in front of it? There's one more time. It doesn't. I mean, it's clearly something up there. So. I want to experience everything I can. Just don't know whether this is something I can. It seems like that made me jump even higher. Seems like, so let's see. Oh, yep, I can just do that. Okay. You crashed truly spectacularly and apparently backwards? Oh, right, I get it. It's one of the big rigs, you know, that backwards acceleration. It's a hell of a thing. Over the road racing, through the road racing, as the thing goes. Oh, hello. There's more butterflies. So I could have actually gone 3 lots. Well, could I? I eventually this first, then I want to test that. So the question is, can I get up there without jumping? Doesn't appear that way, so unless... I don't think I can get those ones up there without jumping either, so I don't think I could get all through. No, I can't get up there without jumping because I need to jump to get on the other stones, or possibly the first one. Yeah. So. Oops. Just apparently looking into a translucent Saturn. Weird rings. Well, so we can get one. Get 2. And we get 3. Actually, I think we might be able to really drop onto them. Yes. Yes. Yes, we can get 3. Nice. That
My friends would
that'll be
laugh
easier,
about
but
that night and talk about how crazy it was. And I laughed along, pretending it didn't bother me. But it did. I imagined my friends growing old in the bush, unable to find that thrill in those godforsaken ice fields. It's like those mountains were a literal wall, keeping me from leaving, where all I would have to look forward to
kind of what
are
mountains
lumber
are.
yards and evening beers. I had to climb over. That was my only goal for a long time.
Then you at least have some skill as a mountaineer, because otherwise it would have been a goal for a very, very short time. Aha! We need all 3 for here. Woohoo! We have achieved. We are approaching escape velocity.
If there was some way I could take my love of drawing and turn it into a way of escape, nothing would make me happier. I wanted to create instead of tearing trees down. I wanted to move to the lower 48, not because I hated it there in Alaska, but I hated the idea of it. It's like all of that spite inside me had created this monster which followed me around my whole teenage years. I put so much energy into doing what others didn't expect of me. Why did I do that?
There's one fact you're forgetting, though. If you didn't have that fire in you, we probably would have never met.
You're absolutely right. Maybe the destination is all that matters in the end. But then why am I awake? Why am I seeing this fox go on her journey? And why can't I stop thinking about my dad?
Because sometimes the human brain's just like that. Wait, what? Okay, that was apparently portal or a door or a thing? Yeah, thing. Let's go with the thing. Um, okay, where's so we path there and a path back to there, and I'm going to assume the one we are facing is the one the way forward. I hope. So let's have a look down the road less travelled. Yeah, that's what you do. That's often what you find in woods. Interesting. That's strangely straight extruded plateau, but not out of the question. In natural environments, plus again, dream. Assuming, assuming, assuming that we are playing the dream, not the dreamer. Huh. A butterfly whose dream empty was a fox, or a fox who dreamt he was a butterfly. You may say that the narrator isn't a butterfly, he's a man. To which I say, prove it. You cannot, you cannot, you cannot at this moment prove that he is not a large, civilized, possibly mutated butterfly. That's it's just not falsifiable. What the heck? Okay, so we are putting in lights to there, or is it? Okay, presumably there's two more of those around. And that seems... Oh no, it's just dirt. That looked like some sort of gaseous miasma, which seemed bad, but it's fine. There. This is a little less fine, but still fine. Is other thing buried? Which, come to think of it, buried memories. Yeah, that's symbolism, but it works.
On our property, there were old abandoned pieces of a shed and car long left unused. I used to ask him all the time who those people were that left all this junk, and I'm sure he got so tired of hearing it that he made up some elaborate stories how a brown bear ate them and haunted the woods afterwards. What's
This was
funny
his
is I
house.
think it made those people seem more real. Growing up thinking they were still hanging out like they couldn't say goodbye. I used to tell my friends how I could swear I saw spirits move near the water, and that always freaked them out. I guess it didn't bother me, because the way I saw it, They were normal people with old cars and sheds, just trying to figure out how to survive and be happy in the middle of nowhere. It was a cool thought that they didn't want to leave, but I was a weird kid.
Well, you had good company since those ghosts like living in a place where they were brutally devoured.
Point. Also, I'd imagine when you when you said when you told your teenage friends you saw spirits in the water, they were probably excited until you made clear you meant ghosts. Let's see. Yeah. More of that. Now, there was a pillar of light reaching to the heavens, which can only mean a patch of dirt. Oh, two patches of dirt. You are spoiling us. Or I. Okay, so there is a patch of dirt, and there's a thing to place a light down, or whatever that is.
Even at my most distant, at the times when I detested him the most, he kept reaching out. For a year straight, he asked me every week when we were going camping.
Oh, not.
I thought he was just dense. Eventually, to shut him up, I agreed. We carried out the worn lawn chairs from the garage and set up a cinder block campfire at the site we had always used behind the house. We walked down the mountain path, talking in the warm sunshine we only got a couple months of the year. Those 3 obsidian rocks shimmered alongside the shore, almost like sparklers pressed against a dark window. I'll never forget that wet stone on my feet, or how those massive mountains looked even bigger in the lake's reflection. I felt small, but grateful. As the sun set, my dad found something I hadn't seen for a long time. The tree where I'd made my first carving when I was 6. I hadn't even carved it. My dad had helped me, but I still called it my tree. Something about seeing my name there made me open up, and we talked about everything that night in that old camouflage tent. I told him how much I loved sketching and design, and how it would be a dream to study architecture in Seattle. I told him how I didn't get along with my friends much anymore, but that I didn't mind being alone. He told me he was there for me, and he joked that if all he had to do was write my name on a tree to finally get me to talk, he would have left me carved logs with novels on them in front of my room every morning. I don't know why it took me that long to realize it, but it was then I knew how much he had sacrificed for me.
Yes. I'm hoping but not expecting that grave is not an ominous sign. Well, it is an ominous sign, but hopefully it's not, hopefully it's not what, the ominousness is not, is not reflective on reality, but again, very much expecting that it is. There's the thing. So, guessing that's another thing to dig up. Yep.
My dad built a lot of stuff in his free time. If he wasn't watching fly fishing or reading Tom Clancy novels, he was carving stuff. He made tons of birdhouses. Not that he was into bird watching, but I think he really missed working and adding on to the home. If he couldn't afford the time to build onto our own house, he would have to settle with watching birds move into their little homes. We kept an old mattress in the bed of that ugly yellow truck, so we would drive it deep into the woods and then watch the birds fly into their houses while the sun set. Usually it was accompanied by venison jerky or a cold Coke, but not a lot of talking, which is how we both liked it.
All right. So there's still another light put in place thing rock to find. So let's find that light to put in place thing rock. That doesn't appear to be a light to put in place thing rock, but it's something, so we're going to look at it, because that's how these sorts of games work. Is that Etch a Sketch? I think it is, yeah. Yep, Magic Sketcher. Interesting. So let's...
We were happiest underneath the evergreens. We decided it was time to finally map out the hundreds of acres we lived on,
Oh, it's a
just to
map.
pass the time during the summer. He was only free in the evenings, so I would spend the day wasting time on dial-up internet and sketching, and then we would rush into the woods, pen and map in hand, before evening fell. Sometimes, the aurora borealis would cast a cold green glow on the mountainside, and we would finish our route underneath a twilight sky.
Do foxes count as
Sometimes
trespassers?
I was lonely during those
I'd
summer
imagine
days,
yes, but hopefully
but there was comfort in the routine.
they
A lot of
understand.
teenagers aren't looking for the daily grind, though. There's nothing wrong with wanting to get out, to leave your childhood home. You wanted to progress, to make something of yourself.
Yeah, you're right.
But I don't think
That
there's
house.
enough butterflies in the air.
I'm sure
yet,
it's
you
the
know?
same as how I left it. But then why does it feel so different?
I doubt you're the only adult to have looked back and asked that question.
Yep. Yeah. The point at which, after which you can't do a double jump is a little irritating, I will say, but nothing egregious. There we are. What's through here? This canyonic crevasse? Ooh, okay. Interesting. So does this go around in a circle? I mean, typically yes, that's how walls work. But that's how three-dimensional objects work actually, but yeah, it appears to, so hello. Mode of light and other mode of light. appears to be the third light to put in Place Thing Rock. Oh yeah. So that presumably did something? I would assume. But I have no conception as to what. Let's see. Okay, can I get through there? So, where now? Says I. Over there. Oh, I can just run through this pleasant wildernestic void. Oh, hello. The thing over there. Is that the same thing we just did, or something different? Might be the same. Is it the same place? And if so, why is it still? Why is it still sending its light into the sky? Is yes, it's the same thing. So. Okay, that's a little strange. Oh well, we'll keep that in mind. Though that does make it rather. It's a little inconvenient considering that means that we can't necessarily trust that there's one of those light columns, that it's something we need to do and haven't already done. so we don't know what that over there is something somewhere we need to go, but we can look and have trees just sort of raise out of the ground, which typically is a thing trees do, but not typically that fast. High grave. Still not certain what's up with you. Not certain I want to be, but well. Aha, hi. Yep, that's. But now this is. Oh, did it open this pot? Seems like things might have shifted just a little bit here, in a slightly concerning way, but convenient for us, I suspect. Jump, please. Thank you. There we are.
Perpetrator stood nearby, unfazed, like nothing was wrong.
What?
My dad is dead, and he's never coming back, Rachel. I can tell you these stories, but I can never reminisce with him again. He can never hold a grandchild that we'll probably never be able to have. I can never talk to him again, and I'll never be able to say I'm sorry for everything.
That's very much a downer. Not that happy about that, but oh, hello. Okay, that's please. Okay, please tell me I can get back up. It appears I cannot. Oh, or can I? Maybe, but I have my doubts if I can. Apparently, I can't even double jump. So, is that? Okay, there we are. There we go. That's one. This is gonna slow going, but at least I'll be able to hopefully get all of the things. Yep. Again, it would be nice if the double jump wasn't arbitrarily limited to a certain period after jumping, but hello, nice. And I see some stuff down there, or not sure what it is, but it appears to be bushes. Alright. crevasse, I think is what this is. I think this passage, this long straight bit. That, if that's not the technical geographic term, then clearly geographers are doing something wrong. Hello. So when we came into this area by just like touching that I think air geyser, uh, whatever that was. Are we going to go back there? Because there were other things we could have, I guess, touched. I'm still not sure what happened with that. Also not certain what the whole thing with the first tree is, but I suppose that might very well become clear as we progress.
I need to go to bed. I just can't talk about this anymore. Good night.
Okay, apparently that is represented by letters. Is he, does he sleep in the post office? Is he sending dream letters to someone? Is he actually like the head on a stamp? I don't know. These are the eternal questions of mankind. Um, whatever case, we have a rough path. Okay, that was a whole thing. So the father and two of the fox cubs are dead. That's fantastic. Um,
Joseph, you can't go to sleep feeling like this. I'm sorry for everything, and I know you need space, but I'm here for you. You don't need to feel so lost.
but apparently the player sometimes does.
Joseph,
Yeah,
have I
it's
ever
not quite
told
fair.
you what my mother was like?
It is an exploration game after all. And we are following a star, so uh, we'll have to see if if the fox just was present at the birth of Jesus. I would suspect not, considering that the animals in a stable probably wouldn't be down with it. Though I suspect a fox would be down with them, at least briefly being outside his stomach. I suppose we'll have to see. Also, because there are no real landmarks, I'm assuming that, oh, there's other stars which we might be going towards. To go towards. Oh, I'd say there's no landmarks, so I just heading in a straight line is the best we can really figure for the moment. Is It is pretty. I will definitely give it that. It is very, very pretty.
You have strength, Joseph, and you're not as alone as you think.
It's all just so pointless. Just waiting for life to happen. It's like having the home I always wanted is cursed out of my reach. The thought of being a parent myself. How could I do that when I couldn't even be a good son? I'm sorry. I know what you're saying. I just don't know how things will work out. These quiet hours will turn into years. We'll wonder which roads passed us by.
Then we'll forge a new road together. Besides, I discovered for myself that one fateful morning where any hopeful road leads to. There may be thorns and mist, but it always leads to the same thing.
And what's that?
Family.
I'm so glad that you're part of my family, Rachel.
And I'm glad you're part of mine.
Given it sounds like they made each other part of that, I certainly hope so, but, well, never predict that sort of thing. Okay, lots of animals. Lots of animals that are strangely unconcerned with a predator wandering among them, but I suppose this is a dream, and maybe it's just dream logic, or maybe Joseph just doesn't actually have that much knowledge of how animal behavior works. That's a possibility. Or maybe he knows, and like the possibility that the fox is seeing all these beautiful creatures, beautiful examples of nature's bounties, just like cartoon steaks on legs. It's just part of things. Still, he, she, they. I think it was a she. The fox is apparently unconcerned with this, which is, I suppose, how things are. I was going to say fair enough, but I suspect most foxes would say that that's not particularly, that's not really, but I'm not going to make pronouncements about what animals might think. That seems to be not the most fruitful exercise. Right, have some. What's next on our little tour of wilderness and memories?
Fox knew her last cub would be waiting for her at the first tree.
Ah, dear
She
her.
was almost there. The rain cascaded onto the Jade Valley where the entrance to the tree was. Life was protected there, because that's where life began.
Tree?
It was now only a mother and a daughter left. Items from my life still dotted the ground as she moved closer to her destination and destiny.
Tree? I mean, that's... Two of our kids are still dead, so like that's not exactly ideal. I know we've missed some lights, but hopefully hopefully we'll be able to get them later. So there seems to be something up. Is it up there? Yes, it was.
At the end of high school, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Drive. I looked into the best architecture schools on the West Coast, then got a dose of reality when looking at other students' portfolios and the high cost of tuition. I still wanted to be something, to be the next Alvaro Siza, and to make those thousands of sketches worth something in my grand history. But now even an internship sounds impossible. Siza helped me understand how essential emotion is in architecture, and he also said light is the real composer of space. I like to think these glints of light, like not finding a job or even a strange dream about a fox, are something I should be thankful for, even if the illuminated space is something I'm less than comfortable with.
Whatever helps. I see a house, I think. Some form of structure. Hello. There's also some dots of some description that are... Oh, dandelions. Right. Weirdly luminescent dandelions, but I suppose that's just a result of the graphics. Don't know why I said it like that, but we'll go with it. It's still not certain what that thing is, but there's a thing beneath it, so we'll focus on that first.
My dad was super supportive with my college plans. To a point. Things were okay until this terrible accident happened.
Oh.
I guess a forklift flipped over due to a bad axle, and it crushed one of the workers there. My dad didn't eat for days, even though he wasn't directly involved. It devastated him. Not only did it hurt the business, but it just freaked him out. He would talk in his sleep, muttering things about firing people and saying sorry. One fateful day he approached me, said that since my school search wasn't going well, I should finally be a man and take over the family business. He said one day he was going to die, and that all of his work, sacrifice, and even that man's life would be wasted in vain. I just lost it. Teenage me just exploded at the thought. I screwed up. I said things I shouldn't have. He was having a crisis, and I pretty much spit in his face.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest, a little understandable, not just because teenager and hormones, but also because, again, understandable why he said that, uh, but it was still very much not a good thing to say. Though admittedly, I may be a little biased, since, frankly, anyone who tells you to be a man and do things is someone I would instinctively reject. Because that whole thing is just dumb and constrictive. Like being a man doesn't mean. Never mind. Okay. Is this?
Was that the last time you talked to him?
No, I called on holidays, and he would call on my birthday. I guess we acted like nothing ever happened, which was stupid. He didn't want to ask about his lumberyard, and I'm sure he didn't want to ask about my job search. I never went back and visited. I think the last conversation we had was about what movies we had seen and what exactly a best boy is in the credits. I thought he would be here so much longer.
It's how it is, sadly. On a brighter note, 100! Yay! I realise that's somewhat something of a mood whiplash, but I'll take what I can get, given the general tone. That. Okay. That's
In the distance, the first tree illuminated the wasteland. She couldn't go home anymore. She did the only thing she was capable of. Moving forward. My dad died alone in the middle of the wilderness. I should have been talking to him more. I should have done a lot of things differently.
If the first tree on Earth brought life with it, if it taught the birds to sing and fly and showed saplings how to grow, what could it do for us?
I'm assuming it did all those things. I don't. If it certainly would do that, but I mean, we're dealing with dream logic and apparently ancient, possibly magical trees, so I suppose I can't exactly discount anything.
There was a letter I received yesterday from a name I didn't recognize, with a quote I can't stop thinking about. Death is not the opposite of life, but a part of it. More and more,
That's a
I'm
lot of
realizing
it.
one important truth. Each of us have our own journey to the first tree. But sometimes I'm not sure I'm ready to take that first step.
You already have my love.
Wait, was that a comma? Like, is that you already have, comma, my love, or you already have my love? As in, he has it, and to be honest, it seems like both would apply, so, which is good. That seems like it. Yeah, I'm sort of just grasping there a little. Okay. She replies back and says, "Oh, that's kind of nice. The amount of lights you've collected is presumably the amount of the amount or the amount of letters you have. So what would a fox say to tell her children she has student glasses? Replies back and says, uh, what would she say? I mean, I'm sorry, that seems a little insufficient. I love you again. Sort of seems a little. I will avenge you. I have my doubts. It's not that sort of game. Uh, I'm gonna be honest. I was not expecting to have to come up with like uh, a brief and powerful message for a mother to tell her dead children. That wasn't what I was planning on when I got up this morning. Um, uh, yeah, because actually thinking about it, that does imply that her children are somewhere. There's some sort of aftermath. So this this seems like what 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 might be said. Oops. The fox in her grief made a few typos, so had to briefly correct them. Uh, uh, oh, that's going to do that. Yeah. Oop, is that right? Yeah. That seems like it, at least somewhat satisfactory.
I guess her journey was over. But I have no idea. It was only a dream, a distraction from tomorrow.
I don't think dreams normally bring back to memory so many important feelings. Maybe it was just a dream, but it was also a gift.
Yeah, I suppose. But tomorrow we're getting on a plane to the last place on Earth I want to be. The only person that would have made the trip worth it is gone.
You're going to see him and be with him one last time before you say goodbye. I have one last quote for you by Emerson, sealed in an imaginary letter from me to you. It is the secret of the world that all things subsist and do not die, but only retire a little from sight and afterward return again. Go to sleep, my love. We have a big day tomorrow, but I'll be there with you every step of the way.
Thank you. Thanks for listening. Good night, Rachel.
Good night, Joseph.
Okay. That, I'm guessing was sort of that. Oh, okay. Not quite. Not quite it. Wow, this must be a bit of a shock for a fox for the fox. And suddenly first person. So given our height, we're probably not a fox, but I don't want to make any assumptions. We still don't know that we're not a uh, giant beaten butterfly. Uh, that. Okay, we are in a room. I love Ack. So either that's like a nickname of somebody, or they just love assault rifles. There's a mirror, which we are not reflected in, so definitely a vampire. Possibly La Sombra, possibly different canonicity. Lamp, plate, more windows. Uh, Books or passports. Can't really. Book of Mormon, Holy Bible, and the something of religion mythology. I think. It's not really certain. I can zoom in. The or arborvitaes of. Okay. Uh, cool. Um, uh, is there some form of. Okay. Army and Department of Defense. So that's a room, possibly. So. Aha, there we are. Uh, notes. Okay, kitchen is... Yep, okay, it is in fact. Oh, it's not a kitchen that is just there to taunt us with its unreachability. It is entirely... Turn the lights on. Nope, nope, so... Apparently he doesn't want to risk waking her, or he just hasn't paid a power bill. Either is possible. Bricks and puffies. Nice. The end. Yeah, I'm guessing it's his father's place, or was his father's place, and he really loves hack. I don't know, maybe someone was dictating the message for the mug and got killed halfway through. Just make it say, I love hack! Okay, okay, moving. They moved here, which is... Not entirely certain if he moved there to take over the business. Not entirely certain that's the healthiest decision, but I'm not going to judge. Can we... Nope, we can't get in here, which is probably for the best. Uh, okay, I see some lights up there that appear to be shining through a sheer rock face, which is unusual. Okay, they've not any more, but I'll go in that direction in general. Am I able? Okay, it doesn't look like I can, which is interesting. Okay, apparently... Okay, so I always thought the thing about vampires was they couldn't cross running water, but apparently he just... Okay, apparently he can't cross... he can't cross power lines. That's a new one. I'm not familiar with that particular vampiric limitation. So I guess we just follow this sort of feels like a path to a gate that seems more ceremonial than anything. Can I, and that I can't even open. I can jump off a rock, or no, the game is not letting me jump off, which is fair. Apparently that's a boundary. So hmm. Right. Also, I presume at some point well, either he put on shoes, or he is in fact a giant mutant butterfly and is just hovering along. Which, considering the butterflies, I don't believe can do that, well, would definitely make him a mutant. is. Campsite. Hmm.
What the hell?
Hi. Uh, ghost foxman, lady, thing. Hello. Uh, I'm very much beginning to miss my quadrupedal form. Particularly since I can't even double jump. That was a very quick dawn. Yeah, I'm not leaving any footprints, so I guess I really am. Then again, vampires can sometimes fly, but yeah, okay, I am a giant vampiric butterfly. This is now canon. Whether or not you agree is not my problem. Presumably there's going to be something in the shop. At least I'm really hoping there is. Currently we are well, just I mean, yeah, I kind of validating walking simulator appellation, even if it's not necessarily representative of the whole experience, but it's nice music, but assuming that light is required, maybe that'll be where the baby Jesus is. I mean, somewhat later than it's typically portrayed, but these butterflies, the last person walking through them, though again, I think I may be a butterfly, so maybe they just actually come to think of it. If an ordinary butterfly saw a gigantic mutant vampire butterfly, I suspect that might disturb them even more. But I'm not an expert on insect behaviour. Not necessarily for lack of trying. Okay, there's a piece of stone or buried metal. I'm not sure what that is. Um, okay. Uh, is there a thing anywhere? Certain, but okay. There's this sort of dip generally signifies a way to go, and I'm certainly hoping it does. There's a oh, tree which is suddenly in autumn. Is this the first tree?
What is this?
Uh, it appears to be a tree, Captain. A tree with something carved onto it. Uh, it's not the destination that defines us, but the journey to that destination. I'll never forget you. Okay, and we're flying. Definitely, definitely butterfly. Right. Well, that was very much a thing. Hmm. Yeah, nice little. That's nice. Fair enough. Okay. That's yeah, that was a nice little narrative experience. Nothing groundbreaking, but a pleasant and emotionally resident, emotionally resonant story. I somehow don't think it was exactly deep enough to really warrant that. Or, so was what appeared carved in the tree uh, one of those random things? I can see. What the heck? Why not? Not exactly amazing as a message, but so Okay. Should we... Let's... Let's... Since we've got a lot of time to deal with, let's go in commentary mode and then see what that gives us. Possibly nothing too edifying, but can take a look.
Hi, my name is David Whaley, and I'm the creator of The First Tree. I also voice a character named Joseph. So I just wanted to introduce you to this commentary mode, tell you that you can find interesting things about how I made this game by touching the speech bubbles you see in the world. So I hope you enjoy it.
Okay. I'll be the judge of whether they're interesting.
Are you awake? I thought I heard you get up.
Yeah, I'm awake. Sorry, I just can't sleep.
Are you thinking about him?
Yeah, a bit. Usually get back to sleep, my love. I'm fine.
No, it's okay. What else is on your mind?
I don't know. It seems weird, but I had one of the most vivid dreams of my life. I saw a fox on a snowy mountain, just looking confused and worried. Those eyes. I can't get those eyes out of my head. She was running in the windy snow, looking for something.
Do you think it has to do with you and what's been going on?
I don't know. It was just a dream, Rachel. They're not meant to make sense. A lot's happened the past couple days, that's all.
Well, if you're not going to sleep anyway, you should tell me. I want to hear.
All right. I'll try not to spoil too much since a lot of this game ties into the very last act, which is the epilogue, I call it. But you'll notice there's lots of items around, and that's kind of what the first tree is about, is like exploring this land and trying to figure out why they're there, what they were used for, and it's kind of explained that this is a dream for Joseph, but it's something different, and it's not supposed to be like your average dream. It's supposed to be something a little deeper. So pay attention to all the items that are around and try to figure out how they tie into the story.
Yeah, I mean, it's fairly straightforward, to be honest.
So it's usually at this point where people say something like, "This is not the kind of game I was expecting." And that happened a lot at PAX West when I showed it. We'd have little kids play it, but then they see a dead fox cub, or a kit is technically the word, but cub sounds, I don't know, it sounds better. Like Wes Anderson uses it in Fantastic Mr. Fox, so I thought cub would be alright. But anyway,
Fair enough.
having this game, I wanted it to be more serious. This game is based on dealing with the death of my father, which is the hardest thing that's ever happened to me and my family. But I don't want to talk about it here, and I didn't want to talk about it with anybody really to this day still. It's very personal. And that's why I made this game. That's exactly the reason. Because I wanted to get those feelings out and like communicate with people without like talking about it. And so that's what the first tree is. It's me dealing with my feelings, and it was a personal project, and it was just me, and it actually, like, I'm really glad I made it, but it wasn't easy to make, I guess is what I'm saying. So, not far from her home, she followed that path to something unexpected.
I mean, you said you didn't
She
want to
couldn't
spoil
stay,
something,
though.
anything, then
She had to find her
you
other
said
2 children,
it's about the death of the
so
father,
she took that
there's
path.
that.
She followed it
Uh,
towards something ancient. Something with answers. High and low, searching for any sign of her cubs. Points of light showed the way to this ancient tree. It was as if each one had a story to tell, all their own. The land was trying to tell my story, too. I felt like I was right behind her the whole time. The bunnies were added because my wife, Elise, who also voices Rachel in the game, who's also helped a ton to make the game, as we were playing, she just said the world felt kind of empty and not alive enough. So I knew we needed to add some kind of life, and so the bunnies was like the first idea that came to mind. And like most of the game, I used like publicly available assets to speed up production because I was working full-time along with making this game, and we just had our first baby, a little girl named Evelyn. So I was messing with this asset called Herd Sim, and at one point, like the generation script that creates variations of the sizes of the bunny. One time I got out of control and it made like this monster bunny that towered over everybody. And I shared that GIF on Imager and Reddit, and that was a huge hit. It helped definitely gain an audience for this game. But it's hard because this game is like so serious. It's about life and death, not giant bunnies. But I knew I needed something, like a shout out to that, because it was pretty fun. So if you're able to catch all the bunnies on this map, I think there's around 13, then you'll get a special surprise. So good luck.
Okay, that's
I feel like one of the main reasons people play small indie games is because they are so personal and intimate. So I tried to put myself into this game as much as possible. So almost all the vignettes or little stories you hear in this game, they come from my childhood, where I grew up in the middle of nowhere in Central Virginia in the United States. So yeah, that's probably why I love games like this so much, where you explore this open, wide environment and just find interesting things, because that's exactly what I did as a kid.
yeah, yeah. I'm. Rails.
Thought it was important to say that yes, I actually did draw this with crayons. And it was just funny to me one day that I was like, I'm working on my game, and I pulled out my little 1-year-old's like crayon set to draw this item for this game. I just realized just now that I probably threw away the original. I probably should have kept it and given it away to somebody, but oh well.
Yep. And like, yeah, like, I appreciate he's upfront about like using assets, and like that it's clearly not like a cynical cash grab asset for them. You know, whether or not anyone likes it, and quite nice. I think it's quite nice. There's clearly a fair bit of quite a bit of work and care was put into things. So yeah, and yeah, not like I think the implication of the ending was that the guy Joseph was had moved back into his father's home to take over his business, which, like I say, I don't necessarily think that's necessarily the healthiest way of reacting. Might not be the best decision, but it is what it is. Also, is that appears to be a rocket or a slide or rocket slide or slide rocket? All three. Yep, and oh. Also, I don't know if I got this one before. Oh, and there's a commentary thing up there.
As a kid, did you ever do show and tell in your class?
Missed that last time.
Yeah, I think I only did it
Whoops.
once, when I was in the 4th grade. You know how my life was around then. I wanted to show my class what helped pass the time and distracted me. So I brought a dozen paper cranes I had made. I think I told everyone how badly I wanted to be a bird and fly, embarrassingly enough.
Don't be embarrassed. Every kid wants to fly. For me, it was another toy from my dad,
Don't make
a wooden
fly,
boat.
but only in one
I remember
direction.
guarding it so carefully in my hands as I walked into class. When I sat down, a group of boys immediately made fun of it. They asked which trash can I found it in, or why an ugly log was my favorite toy. When I got up, I didn't even want to tell them my dad had carved it. I said it was a joke gift my friend had given me.
Kids can be so cruel.
Some of them are. I shouldn't have let them get to me, but it did. It's amazing we bounced back at all. I feel like one of the best ways to make an exploration game feel worth it, or to reward the player, is to have as many secrets as possible. Like some of my favorite games like Dear Esther and Gone Home and Firewatch. I love those story-driven games. And they're kind of like these mystery boxes where if you put in a lot of effort, if you look closely, the world reveals itself to you better. So there are like secrets in the first tree. See if you can find one of these hidden items by digging around in these unmarked spots around this area.
Oh, digging around. Okay, I'll go back and do that. That seems like hopefully there'll be some indication of where, as opposed to just oops.
He was
Hello?
kind of the manly man type, but one thing that still surprises me is his vase collection. Some guys collect shot glasses of all the different places they were stationed at, but my dad wanted jars and pots. I think underneath his rough appearance, he was gentle, and he admired craftsmanship above all else. He never talked about the places he was stationed at, but he loved talking about how unique each piece of pottery was.
I suspect that might be something of a common thing among soldiers who've seen active combat, assuming he did, of course. Oh, 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 oh. Still not sure where those rabbits are he's talking about. I mean, I remember seeing them, but I have no idea. Although, were there any in this area? I feel like there would be. Ooh. Ah, doesn't work. Shame, shame. Ah well. Such is life in the dream plane. Now that one I would have definitely done. Positive. So.
lot of people have gotten confused why Joseph's father is called a sourdough, and it's not stated outright at the beginning of the game, but Joseph and his dad, they grew up in Alaska. And I don't have a real connection to Alaska except through friends who lived there, and it was also the place that me and my dad were gonna go right before he passed away. But I love the idea of Alaska being like this beautiful solitary place. But anyway, what that has to do with sourdough is it's an Alaskan slang term about like someone who lives in the backwoods, like a redneck in Alaska. So I thought that was just to put some authenticity into the game. I added that word.
Alright, that's very straightforward. Sourdough. That's an odd one. Like, is it because sourdough is like more like rather coarse or like something? I don't know. Then again, this game was made before there was a period where everyone was stuck inside their house, so maybe our associations with the word sourdough has somewhat changed. So he said all the bunnies on this map, but I haven't found any bunnies, so I guess that either it's not, he meant the game rather than just this map, or it's just not happening. That flag seems traumatized, maybe? I'm not sure how a flag is. Never mind. Well, no matter. Okay. Fascinated to hear this.
This is the level that I showed at PAX West, which was a crazy dream come true that this hobby project was being shown next to all these amazing indie games. So I decided to show this level because it's smaller, there's like some jumping puzzles, and I thought it was a good entry into the game. But the one thing I can't seem to forget is right before we open to the public, there was an indie dev superstar. Like, you've definitely heard of his games, and I was like terrified. He wanted to try it out, so I said, of course, like, please give me your feedback. And he was super nice, super talented, of course. But this embarrassing bug happened, which I'd never seen before in my life, where when he dug the item up, he jumped right after, and it created the dust cloud to permanently be on the rest of the level. It wouldn't turn off. So it looked like this fart cloud following the fox as it just kept running with this beautiful music and serious voiceover. And it was horrible. I think about that every time I look at this level. But, you know, I was able to fix it, so I'm glad someone could at least find that bug. I always wanted this game to be very meditative and relaxing, but I know there's a balance between keeping the player's interest. So I added this butterfly jumping mechanic just to like spice things up. I used a plugin called Playmaker for Unity, which in a visual editor lets you do interactive things, which is perfect for me because I do come from a film and design background. But on the flip side, I really wish I was good at code, because this jumping mechanic, the jumping mechanic in the whole game actually, has frustrated a lot of players. But hopefully I've been able to fine tune it, so it should feel a lot better now. I would just hate that this meditative game would get frustrating, so I've definitely I've lowered the gravity, I've made the jumps more consistent, so hopefully people can just focus on the world and the story.
I wouldn't say frustrating. I wouldn't say particularly frustrating, though. Again, I don't know what it was before, but was it?
You may have noticed there's a little pond here, and believe it or not, I tried everything I could to get swimming working in this game, and I just could not do it, unfortunately. And so all the water in this game you can just stand in, which is, it still bums me out, but the systems were not working, it was buggy. So I just had to throw it out, which, I think it's okay. I wish it was there, but again, the focus of this game is on the story.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, as I say, the one thing that is irritating about the jumps is the seemingly arbitrary point after which you can't double jump, but that's fairly minor. 3, can I get up there from this side? Yes, I can. Nice.
My biggest hope for the players that are playing is that they realize how similar these two parallel stories are, of this fox looking for her missing cubs, and also of this son reconnecting with his father. And so I try to add little touches in the voiceover and in the environment to help draw those parallels, even if they seem totally dissimilar. A big example is the truck, for instance, that Joseph grew up with. It's purple and yellow like the butterflies for this fox. So I tried to add as many touches like that throughout the story as possible.
Butterflies are alright. Okay. Well, the stories are. I guess I can see it.
My friends would laugh about that night and talk about how crazy it was, and I laughed along, pretending it didn't bother me. But it did. I imagined my friends growing old in the bush, unable to find that thrill in those godforsaken ice fields. It's like those mountains were a literal wall, keeping me from leaving, where all I would have to look forward to are lumber yards and evening beers. I had to climb over. That was my only goal for a long time.
So, it's a good goal. I don't necessarily think that just deciding not to is necessarily the best option, but and I don't. So there's 2 different of those climbing mist geyser steam mist things. I don't even know what they are, let alone what the purpose of the multiples is. Okay, 3, 4 of them. So let's get the furthest one and see what there is there, if anything at all. Oh, okay. So So it wasn't that which was the loading zone? I'm a little confused, but oh well.
I did want to do something a little different with this level. I wanted it to be more open world feel, and that there was something blocking your progress. So it did encourage people to look closely and see how to unlock this blocked way. And I do like just walking around this level and listening to the beautiful music by Josh Kramer. His work really sets the mood for the whole game. I don't think the first tree could work at all without the music by Josh Kramer. And his music, it's actually publicly available to license, and so it was affordable for me since this was a hobby project. And it's something I like to tell new indie developers all the time, like, you can't afford that composer, you can't afford a full-time programmer. You need to cut corners and finish your game, and the way to do that is to use these amazing publicly available assets that anyone can purchase and license. And so his music is incredible, and I actually haven't talked to him that much. I've just emailed him. But his music was nominated for Most Emotional Music at the Emotional Game Awards in France, and he's just a really nice guy. And I think there's so much amazing content out there that if you're thinking of making a game, like, look around and see what you can make work on a tight budget, because it worked really well for the first tree.
Reasonable, although the Emotional Game Awards, like that, is that awards for emotional games? Game awards where you're encouraged to be emotional, or are you just given awards that start crying and screaming? Any of those seems like a good thing to good thing to have. Just like which, if not all. I'm curious. That's yeah. There's a thing over there as well. Is that the? Yeah, that's probably the one we've already done. So it's already done. So over here. I'll keep on the lookout for speech bubble columns. Yes, it is. Excellent.
Almost all stories follow the same kind of structure, and it starts with an inciting event, and then there's rising action, and then there's a climax, and then there's falling action. And it's actually really difficult to make an interesting story where you only hear these two people talking, and it's spoken through a dream that's already happened. And the most of the action is about this animal that isn't directly related to this couple at all. So I don't know what I was thinking, but my hope was that it would create some interesting things and connections that I didn't see before. And that was kind of the whole exercise of making the first tree.
Still not certain what, like I just sort of rapid pressed the A button there and hoped, and it seemed to work. I'm still not quite sure what what exactly you're supposed to do there, but okay. Okay, see, another light column. Well, it's kind of hard, to be honest, given the whole forest, but what I saw one, there's yep, saw that, so we're back here. Now that's past the blocking routes, so we'll head over yonder ways. Let's see what there is. Ooh, hello.
Earlier I said I just love going through video games and exploring, like looking at every nook and cranny and just trying to find little details. And I think that started because in middle school and high school, I would make mods for my favorite games, namely Jedi Knight, Jedi Outcast, and Far Cry. And I loved like this huge world of mod makers who would make these levels and it'd be like the most random creative things, and I would just love exploring, usually multiplayer levels by myself. So even though I went to college for film, before that, like before high school, I was making video games and mods, and it was my favorite thing in the world. I made a ton of different levels. I made an abandoned space hotel with a dance floor and cafeteria. I made a haunted campground with cabins and tents. I made this whole city with like the first ever day-night cycle with running showers and stuff in the hotel and the apartment buildings. And I just loved making those mods, and I think that carries over to my game, The First Tree, and also the one before that, Home is Where One Starts, which is it's exploration. You're just looking around and appreciating the details.
Yeah, fair enough. And like, I'm going to be honest, like going through these massive multiplayer levels, single player, honestly, that just sounds like a good time to me. Not to say that that's necessarily reflective of people in general, but I certainly empathise. So under here, no, it's passage, but nothing to collect. Is it over there? I think yes. that's not also I'm kind of going through this game again, skipping all the bits that actually made it meaningful, but I'm interested in the commentary, so there. So, do we have... Yeah.
The perpetrator stood nearby, unfazed, like nothing was wrong. My dad is dead, and he's never coming back, Rachel. I can tell you these stories, but I can never reminisce with him again. He can never hold a grandchild that we'll probably never be able to have. I can never talk to him again, and I'll never be able to say I'm sorry for everything. It was really important to me that the wolf in this story that takes the fox's cubs, that it wasn't explained at all. Like, it's just this entity that's in the background. And of course, it's supposed to represent something bigger than a wolf or even the fox. It's supposed to represent like the specter of death, and it comes when you least expect it. There's no justification. He's just there, always watching.
Death as a wolf. There's... I can't imagine some great story using portraying death as a wolf. Just doesn't seem like something that would happen. That is interesting. I don't feel as sort of running in a straight line along sort of a path with the fox feels a lot better than doing so in first person. Maybe it's just I'm not massively big on first person in general. It's fine, it works for certain games. It's just not. I guess I'm just more used to controlling things third person, but that's not a thought. I suppose it's partially because at least I have a bit more of a sense of speed, even if I don't necessarily have that much more speed. But it does feel a lot better. Maybe that's just me, probably just me. That's a very thing that from the commentary, but I'm going to find out. Yeah. It's a thing to dig up, which we're not going to dig up because I want to get to the commentary, and apparently this version of the dream was just incredibly brusque and terse, and just heading, just not even bothering with the whole symbolism, life story, meaning thing. Because to be fair, that actually somewhat reflective of how dreams tend to be, but they typically don't mean that. They typically don't mean that much beyond uh, just like images. Real dreams are weird. They are very, very weird. Is my point. But hey, it's symbolic dreams are just kind of something we accept in fiction, and it's not necessarily to say that that they aren't everything. Just that it's not quite so not quite so. It's just usually not.
Hello, my name is Elise Whaley, and I was the voice actress for Rachel. I'm also David's wife. So that was convenient for working together. I was actually the voice actress for his first game, Home is Where One Starts, and I guess that I did a good enough job that David wanted me back, so I did the voice acting for this one as well. David definitely coached me through it because I'm pretty inexperienced when it comes to that. Home is Where One Starts was my first time ever doing voice acting of any kind. And we watched a lot of trailers of movies we liked to get the voice right of female leads who were talking in the trailer and try to mimic that and bring that into the game so that had the right kind of feel and the right kind of atmosphere for the voice. My character actually is the same character from Home is Where One Starts. If you've played that game, you probably connected that together. And this is her probably about 15 years later, maybe 20 years later in this game. I was happy to revisit the character of Rachel. We kind of leave her in an ambiguous spot in Home is Where One Starts. It definitely ends on a hopeful note, but there's not a lot of details. And in this game, you see that she's able to move on through a lot of her issues that she had from her abusive home and be able to start her own family and start a new cycle without that abuse, which I think is really inspiring.
Joseph,
okay, that's
You can't go to sleep feeling like this.
so.
I'm sorry for everything, and I know you need space.
Nothing else.
but
That I mean,
I'm here for you.
that's
You don't need to feel so lost.
probably not going to play that anytime soon.
Joseph,
Just because it's a
Have I ever told you what my mother was like?
little heavy.
So it's always interesting working with your spouse because, especially on a creative project, because they want your feedback, but it's something that's also dear to their heart, and they're dear to your heart, and you definitely don't want to hurt their feelings. So I was a little nervous when David asked me, he had finally finished writing the script, and he asked me to go over it and see what I thought. And I had minored in English. I majored in art, but I minored in English, so I felt like I had a little bit of experience. But I was definitely like a little scared because you don't want to be too harsh, but you also want to be honest. And it was the biggest relief when I read the script, and I was like, oh, good. My husband's a good writer. I don't have to change that much about this, just a few like grammatical things. And that was just like the biggest relief for me because it can be a tricky balance working with your spouse and making sure that that honesty is there, but also that love and the support is there as well. So we're talking about Home is Where One Starts a lot, so if you haven't played that game, maybe this doesn't make as much sense, or maybe this is a little plug that you should go play it. But in that game, it actually features one of my artworks. I work as an artist and paper cutting, actually, and David used one of my artworks as a graffitied stencil in Home is Where One Starts that's against the wall of this shack. And it actually shows up again in the first tree, just a fragment of it. The first tree, the title actually comes from one of my artworks that I made back in 2015, I want to say. And I made this artwork while I was pregnant with our first child. And it had a lot of meaning for me, and David actually helped me come up with the title. And he asked, because I was really struggling, I was like, I have no idea what to call this, and I always go to David for title ideas and to bounce ideas off of him, and that's like the only way I can ever come up with a title is by talking with him. So we were talking back and forth and looking at this artwork, and he said, well, what kind of like movies or shows were you watching while you're making the artwork? Because my work's pretty tedious, so sometimes I'll watch a show or do some Netflix binging while I'm creating it. And I was like, oh, I actually watched Tree of Life a ton. And then we're like, Tree of Life. And we started thinking more about that and then arrived at the first tree. So it started off as one of my artworks and then became a part of David's art, which I think is really cool that we were able to share that title.
Yeah.
You
Like I said,
have strength,
probably,
Joseph, and you're not as alone as you think.
probably not going to
It's
play
all
a game
just so
about like child
pointless.
abuse
Just waiting for
for
life
a
to
while.
happen.
I'm afraid
It's like having the home I always
just
wanted
kind
is
of
cursed out of my reach.
No,
The
not the
thought
sort
of
of
being
thing.
a
Well,
parent
certainly not the
myself.
sort of thing
How could I do that when I couldn't even be a good son?
I'd probably
I'm sorry.
want to do
I know what you're saying.
in
I
the
just don't know
Christmas
how things
season.
will work out.
Though to be fair, a game
These quiet
apparently
hours
what I
will
want to
turn
do is a
into
game
years. We'll wonder
about
which
dead
roads
fox
passed us
babies
by.
and
Then
their
we'll
dead
forge a new
fathers,
road
but,
together. Besides, I discovered for myself that one fateful morning where any hopeful road leads to. There may be thorns and mist, but it always leads to the same thing.
yeah,
And what's that?
I mean, like, may look into the game at some point, but
I'm so
I
glad
wouldn't necessarily,
that you're part of my family.
wouldn't necessarily hold my breath.
And I'm glad you're part of mine.
Though I'm sure that not that knowing that some random weirdo isn't gonna immediately play and stream the game will just be devastating to them anyway. A fox?
A question I get a lot is why a fox? And it ties into just how important family is for me. And Fox is actually a family name from my wife's side, from Elise. And she always heard about the legacy of the Fox family. And because of that, growing up, it was her favorite animal. She even made these 2 wooden foxes for our wedding cake toppers. So I thought it would be cool to have that animal in the game while these 2 people are having this conversation in the middle of the night.
Yeah. Also, obviously goes unsaid, but I really think it should be noted. Foxes are cute. They are adorable, and they are very nice animals to have fiction about. Obviously, in real life, they can be pests. Not to say that's not to necessarily hold to say to castigate for them. They're just trying to survive like any others, but in real life they can be problematic. But they're still cute. I like foxes. It's part of what made this game stick out a little to me, though not the only thing, because even I'm not quite that shallow. Yes. Yeah. Always nice to have a. Now, okay, I was going to say this, and it was going to sound sarcastic, but I mean it quite sincerely when I say, always nice to have a bit of like of gameplay to spice things up. Because again, it's not a knock. It's a narrative focused game. It's just. But having the occasional little bit where you have to like do a bit of a thing, it's nice. It's pleasant. I enjoy it. Like it's not necessary. The most of the game thing is not lesser for not having as much of it, but it it is just a nice little thing.
The fox knew her last cub would be waiting for her at the first tree. She was almost there. The rain cascaded onto the Jade Valley where the entrance to the tree was. Life was protected there, because that's where life began. It was now only a mother and a daughter left. Items from my life still dotted the ground as she moved closer
Yeah.
to her destination
Life
and destiny.
possibly not quite as protected as she might have preferred, I think, but such is life.
Usually what catches people's attention of the first tree is the visuals, of course. And I was inspired by a lot of people making these levels. The second level is inspired by just these beautiful autumn photos of a real forest. And this level, the Jade Valley, is inspired by the artwork of Heather Penn, who did the Overland games. I just love those greens with a lot of gray in it. I love the strong vignettes in the corners of the frame. And of course, this environment pack was made by the very talented Swedish designer Mikael Gustafsson. And of course, his initial designs inspired me, and I was able to build off of that. And I'm really grateful that he allowed his environment pack to be made publicly available.
Yeah. Fair enough. Like, the visuals, I mean, they're definitely good. Like, I didn't, like, it's not something that, like, leapt out at me when I was looking at the game, but it definitely works. And your color palettes are very, very well chosen.
By now, you've probably caught on to some of the themes I love to explore in these stories. And the big one is of this tree, the first tree on Earth. And a lot of people have asked me, what does that mean? Why a tree? And basically, it boils down to this delicate balance between nature and its relationship with life and death. And I love these stories where they put like these microscopic relationships, like something of like a father and a son, and juxtapose it next to this epic story of like the creation of the universe and the first tree on Earth, and how they can be equally as important, because in my mind, like, my family is as important as like the creation of the Earth. And it reminds me of like some of the stories I love, like The Road by Cormac McCarthy, or The Tree of Life by Terrence Malick. Basically, I wanted to make sure the player felt that there was a higher power than themselves, and that there was something watching over them as they went through this story.
Interesting. So apparently that house up there is just unreachable. This one isn't. Did we? Well, it's reachable. It's just not. It's just. It is in the ground. Much like it's. Oh no. Okay, no. That's dark. That's too dark. I apologize. Is this the direction we meant to go in? Hopefully. don't know. But we will presumably find out. Ah, wait. Briefly saw that hanging loop and thought it was something else, but let's not worry about that. I think this was in the rough direction. Uh, yes, because we have a path. We have found the path. Be advised, be assured, be on the path. That's. Though this is also towards the well, an emotional climax. So I'm guessing we'll. Yeah, right, okay.
In the distance, the first tree illuminated the wasteland. She couldn't go home anymore.
Yep.
She did the only thing she was capable of. Moving forward. My dad died alone in the middle of the wilderness. I should have been talking to him more. I should have done a lot of things differently.
If the first tree on Earth brought life with it, if it taught the birds to sing and fly and showed saplings how to grow, what could it do
Well,
for us?
I mean, as first,
Obviously,
as
there's a
first
really
try.
emotional part, but I'm going to talk through it anyway. A lot of people
Fair enough.
correctly identify that Journey was like a huge inspiration for the first tree. And this part, it is like a callback to that part where you're climbing up the mountain with your friend you don't know, and it just gets snowier and snowier, and you just keep going, and then eventually you collapse. And that made a huge impact on me. And I don't even own a PlayStation 3 or 4. I rented a PlayStation from like a rent-a-center right after completing Home is Where One Starts, just because I'd heard so much about it. And everyone was right. It was a very impactful game. And it definitely inspired the first tree.
There was a letter I received yesterday from a name I didn't recognize, with a quote I can't stop thinking about. Death is not the opposite of life, but a part of it.
Well, it's the
More
absence
and
of
more,
it.
I'm realizing one important truth.
The opposite of life, I guess,
Each
would
of
be
us
the
have our
anti-life
own
equation.
journey to the first tree. But sometimes I'm not sure I'm ready to take that first step.
You already have my love.
I mean, you're saying as proto-tree prototypes go, this is a pretty good one. It's a solid success for the first one, and definitely a good basis for all subsequent iterations of tree. Asks if there's a last message from her to tell her children. She replies back and says, I won't be submitting this one, but no. Oops. Fox briefly had a brain fart full of typos. Whoops.
I guess her journey was over. But I have no idea. It was only a dream. A distraction from tomorrow.
I don't think dreams normally bring back to memory so many important feelings. Maybe it was just a dream, but it was also a gift.
Yeah, I suppose. But tomorrow we're getting on a plane to the last place
Dead
on
Fox
Earth
Kits.
I want to be. The only person that
I'd
would have
say
made the
they
trip
couldn't be
worth it
given
is
as
gone.
gifts, just not
You're going to
certain
see him
they'd be
and be with
received
him
very
one last time
well,
before
but
you say
here we are.
goodbye. I have one last quote for you by Emerson, sealed in an imaginary letter from me to you. It is the secret of the world that all things subsist and do not die, but only retire a little from sight and afterward return again. Go to sleep, my love. We have a big day tomorrow, but I'll be there with you every step of the way.
Thank you. Thanks for listening. Good night, Rachel.
Good night, Joseph.
Right. So, there's going to be more commentary in this bit. Yes, there is. Cool. What the?
You're probably thinking, what is going on? And that was definitely my intention for this epilogue part of the first tree. This is my favorite part. This is the part I'm most proud of. And it definitely, it's supposed to evoke this, what is going on? Where am I? I was not expecting this. When I was marketing and blogging about making the game, I never showed anyone this part. I never told anyone. I never shared screenshots. I wanted it to be a complete surprise. And I also wanted it to feel a little creepy because it's totally inspired by those nights where you wake up in the middle of the night and you can just hear the sounds of the wind outside the house and you can't sleep. So you walk around in this twilight stupor. And I would say the whole first part of this game where you play as the fox, its whole purpose is to set up for this conclusion. So yeah, I would encourage you to look around and see how many things you recognize from the earlier part of the game. I tried hard to foreshadow this epilogue just because I wanted it to be a surprise, but I didn't want it to feel too out of place that it would be humorous. And so Joseph, earlier in the game, he would say things like, I felt like I was right behind the fox the whole time. In my mind, the camera perspective acts as a metaphor for who the player is, what they're seeing. If the camera represents Joseph, or just like that video game trope of having the camera follow you. I guess the big question I wanted the player to ask themselves, is this a dream as well? And if so, does that even matter?
I'm gonna be honest. I think I'd refer to the dreams. They say just like going into this business that you never wanted to, or for the most part, didn't really want to do, out of like guilt because of that. Like that's not necessarily. I don't think that's necessarily a great way of doing things, but great thing to do. But I suppose it works best ambiguous.
The hell?
Yeah, I'm thinking it. Well,
I purposefully fade out the crosshair in the middle of the screen because I wanted it to be a direct callback to the camera following the fox in the first 5 levels of the first tree. I wanted it to go for that gut reaction that this was very familiar, yet totally in a different world.
yeah, I'm gonna. To be honest, I'd get. On the one hand, I was tempted to say that it's almost certainly the camera wasn't representative of Joseph because he moved a lot faster during that. But on the other hand, if this is also a dream, well, dreams you can often go faster than you can otherwise, and sometimes you can't. So this might be a dream. I don't know. And as you say, I suppose it doesn't particularly matter. Though I'm concerned by all the trees that are just sort of suddenly slanting. Is that's not typically the sort of thing one sees outside of a dream, so that sort of might give us a bit of a clue, but that certainly works for me. Well, I'm not exactly in a hurry. I don't feel like combing over every inch of the area in this form. Looking for them. Pit that hasn't been disrupted again. It points to green, but who knows? Also, unlike many of the less creative of games based on assets, they at least mastered the ancient and noble art of rotating assets, so they don't look completely identical. For the most part. Amazing how few. Well, I say amazing how few don't get that. I suspect it's less a lack of. With many of them, it's less a lack of knowledge than a lack of care. But that's. Don't really think that's something you would can accuse this game of. Uh, yeah, definitely not. Yeah. And the final bit of commentary. Which
What is this?
I suppose the heavy breaths sort of goes against the whole vampire thing, but you never know. But again, it depends on the mythology, I suppose. Conclusion.
Thank you for making it to the end of my game, and I hope you enjoy the personalized message that is featured on the trunk of this tree. It's a message submitted by another player that's retrieved from a database, and it's retrieved at random. And I did this because I wanted people, even if they feel alone through trials of death, that there is a community, an invisible community supporting each other. So thanks for playing.
Fair enough. Love comes from the people around you. You have to love the moments with them. Yeah, I can. Not bad. Bye bye then. Okay, well. So that was the first tree. Well, that was the game, the first tree, which within it contained the first tree within the world of the game, even if I have a suspicion that it wasn't actually the first tree that was coded and placed into the game, though it was apparently the first tree that was concepted for the game and before the game. So there's that. Point is that was the first tree. Yeah, it was a nice, very somber little narrative. It definitely got the sort of sense of meaning it had for Mr. Waylay. Yeah, it definitely worked. It wasn't I'd be lying if I said it was incredible, life-changing battle, but it was good. It was a very good game. I enjoyed it, and I'm very glad it exists and glad that I played it. Uh, don't think I will submit that second one. But yeah, that's nice. And that, well, yeah, well, it's much earlier than normal, I realise, but I don't really think can't off the top of my head think of something that'll last only 50 minutes. So I guess we're ending early, and since as at this point, I don't actually have any real viewers. That's not really a problem. So yeah, that was that. I as I say, turns out it wasn't as appropriate for the season, in terms of vibes as I thought it was. But you know what? It's not anti vibe, and it feels like a decent game to play in this sort of calm period. So yeah, okay. Next time, with any luck, I will be starting another game, a much bigger game, which should take a considerable few sessions to get through. But I've been looking forward to it for a while, so uh, admittedly, I will start playing it on Thursday and won't be playing it on Monday, the 25th of December, because I can't quite recall. I think there might be something happening around that period. It's sort of little little fuzzy, but I think there might be. But regardless, I will be continue to play then, and it should be quite a thing, and I'm definitely looking forward to that. So I hope, though again, don't particularly expect, but hope to see some people there. So for the moment, bye bye.